So do I call this to order?
Yeah.
I would say this is the welcome. This is the Economic Development and Tourism Committee. And we're going to go and everybody's going to introduce themselves. I am Shira Dedman. I am the council member in position 6.
I'm Heidi Fenton, and I'm a council member too.
Rob
Not
Patansu,
two. Me.
Rob Patansu, Mayor.
Nick Bond, Community Development Director, and I will just state for the record that it is June 8th at 7:30 in the morning.
Jim Fisk, Principal Planner.
Did you mean
Con-
9:30 in the morning?
I did mean 9:30 in the morning. Thank you. We'll get this figured out.
We will. It's a process.
Connor Dahlquist, Associate Planner.
Sorry, Connor. Joe Morrison, Kitsap EDA, and an enthusiastic resident of this city.
Okay. I'm assuming that's everybody. I'm trying to put mine on the gallery so I can see people. All right, cool. And so our next item on the agenda is discussion item downtown grant program.
Yeah,
But
I
it
can
doesn't.
speak quickly and provide an update on this. I'm going to share my screen so you can see our website here. So on the Department of Community Development website, we now have a tab on the left-hand side that says Building Refacing Grant Program. And so this is the website for our downtown grant program. And here we go, it's loading. So we've created an email address for submittals and questions related to the grant that will go to the key staff involved in the program. And then we've included the resolution as well as the policy that was attached to the resolution. We've created an FAQ and then an application form that you can click on to fill out and submit an application. And we are now, as of Friday, accepting applications at this time. I did have somebody come to the DCD on Friday asking about an application. It sounds like they want to repaint their building on Bay Street, and so it sounds like they will be submitting something in the near future. They were going to reach out to some contractors to get pricing before preparing an application. And to my knowledge, no other applications have come in yet, and so we're handling these on a first come, first served basis. And as they come in, we will bring them to the council or council committees for review and recommendation for approval going forward.
So is it,
Or anybody have anything to add or questions?
I have a question. This is Shira. So is it that since it's a first come, first served basis, the deadline is open essentially until the money runs out?
Exactly.
Okay.
Or the budget year ends, which then at the end of the year, you guys would need to reauthorize the money in the upcoming budget. So there is kind of a deadline there, and because of the funding year ends.
And when is the funding year? Is that
12/31 this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or responses on this item? No? Okay, moving on. Next discussion item is pre-application meetings.
Yeah, so since the last time we met, we have had a couple of pre-application meetings. I think I already talked about an instant oil change proposal at the intersection of Sedgwick. Uh,
Uh-oh.
Nick,
I can't hear you,
one
Nick.
moment. You just cut out.
We lost you, Nick.
No, he's still talking though. That's
scheduled for a possible McDonald's at the location of the old Rite Aid at the corner of Bethel and Lund, but we have not yet held that meeting, and so I don't have a whole lot of
Hey, Nick.
Like,
We lost you at the beginning of something lube at the corner of
yeah.
Sedgwick, and we
Oh,
just got back. We got you back at McDonald's.
Can you just start over?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's an instant oil change. I'm going to turn my camera off just in case that this is a bandwidth issue. There's an instant oil change proposal at Bethel and Sedgwick that I think I reported on previously. And I've also mentioned that we have a scheduled pre-application for a possible McDonald's at the old Rite Aid site. That meeting has not yet occurred. We've also there's a medical professional building on Pottery near Lippert that there's some childcare facilities in that building, and so we've been meeting with them about the possible expansion of that facility and also the creation of some storage for the various businesses upstairs in the basement of that building. And then the Tiny Notes is I believe that's a childcare facility also on Pottery that is looking to build an addition and expand their facility. We've had a pre-application meeting with those folks. Or I'm sorry, that's the Stepping Stones on in 1914 Pottery. Um, Jim, there are two others on here that I haven't looked at yet. Have you looked at Seven Brew or Tiny Notes?
So we're gonna have that pre-application meeting later this week, I believe. It's a coffee kiosk type thing. And then I think that's about it, really.
All right.
Mm.
So the coffee kiosk is proposed on Mile Hill. It looks like uh, between the car wash and where the Jack in the Box, or actually at the site of the Jack in the Box, they would tear down that building and put in a coffee shop in its place right across from Starbucks.
Mhm. Was that the old Taco Bell or is
The old Jack in the Box.
oh okay, the old Jack in the Box.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, the Starbucks, I believe, is in the old Taco Bell.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Mhm, mhm.
So that's all I've got to report on pre-application meetings. We are well ahead of the pace for last year in terms of how many meetings we've held this year. It seems like with all the residential growth that we've had, maybe commercial growth usually follows the addition of rooftops in the communities and in the community. And there are there is, yeah, I would say, a heightened interest in commercial development now that there are more rooftops in Port Orchard.
Nice. Okay, well, thank you. Any questions about that?
No, it's kind of interesting for McDonald's though. We already got like two McDonald's on each end. And so that's a pretty big space for another McDonald's to come on in. So
McDonald's is popular in our, at least when it's been 10 years since I managed the bank there across the street from the McDonald's out at Sedgwick. And I believe it was number two or number three in the state for volume. North Bend is the top McDonald's in the state,
Oh, interesting.
and our McDonald's was right off the freeway, is right up there with it. So
Mm. And
yeah.
they do a lot of stuff with the schools, so they definitely stay like relevant. Um, next discussion item. Oh, sorry,
Question.
Joe. Sorry. Go ahead,
It's
Joe.
okay. I wanted to ask just if we could theorize a little bit on DCD's part. You held a pre-application meeting with a childcare facility that's looking to expand. We're interested in what hurdles there are, and that can come in the form of fees. What fees do you think might apply to this expansion? Just uh, not necessarily for sure they will, but what fees could this childcare facility see?
So the child care facilities pay traffic impact fees. They don't pay park impact fees and they don't pay school impact fees. So the increase in capacity for students probably increases the trip generation for the facility. So you have an increase in peak PM trips, which translates to about $9,000 per peak PM trip that's added to the facility. But they would do a study basically showing what their existing enrollment is versus their new enrollment to determine if there is a significant increase. It's not a lot of square footage that they're proposing to add, so I don't think it's more than a few peak PM trips to add a childcare facility. The bigger issue that I think we saw, you know, when you add onto a building like this new requirements for stormwater and ensuring accessibility get triggered. And so there were some challenges with this building based on the date that it was built and how it's configured in terms of whether they're going to have larger hurdles from stormwater and accessibility in terms of doing site improvements.
I don't know what the possibilities are. It always interests me. We hear stories of, you know, there's a small business they wanted to add so they could have 8, 12 more kids, and they have to pay a $60,000 traffic impact fee as well as other fees, which can become, I understand the statutory intent behind it, right? We're increasing traffic. That's the way it is. Every piece of traffic costs $9,000. You know, there's another perspective, which is, you know, they're trying to serve our childcare needs, put more people into the workforce. I always think it's interesting to think about, are there places where we can potentially create exemptions to decrease these kinds of costs? I don't know what those, if council action could exist to do that, Nick. I mean, I have no idea, right?
Well, you know, I've given this a lot of thought over the years as well, and I'll just say that if if city council is going to waive impact fees, the general fund basically has to pay that impact fee and move money from the general fund into the traffic impact fee fund in order to provide that sort of relief. One of the things I've thought about a lot with, you know, there's a lot of cities that don't charge traffic impact fees, including big cities. I don't believe Seattle has a traffic impact fee. I think Tacoma is now looking at one. But a lot of the cities that don't have traffic impact fees have B&O taxes. So rather than paying a large upfront cost, you're paying as revenue comes in, you're contributing to the city through a B&O tax, which then could be used for roads. And so that's maybe a possible trade-off or a possible way to compensate the traffic impact fee fund for the impacts of business without making it an upfront cost. But I think that would be pretty unpopular in the city as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's always interesting because, you know, the statutory or legislative intent sort of says, hey, if you're McDonald's or you're Starbucks or you're a 8-person childcare facility, you have to pay these fees. And the capacity, and it's interesting that there seems to be like very little scaling that occurs. I don't sort of mind what large scale businesses have to pay. Like they'll pay it to access the market. But I do worry about our small businesses and these kinds of situations where they don't get relief. I don't have the answer, right? I'm just pointing it out and saying if we want more childcare facilities in our community, like this is an interesting case study. I'd be interested, and this isn't a criticism, right? But if, for instance, you're 3 months down the road, you're like, oh, the governmental cost to increase this childcare facility is $142,000. They're probably not going to make that investment because that's not even expanding their facility. That revenue is not going to get captured. No increased childcare slots are going to occur in our community. So I'd love if I could stay in the loop on this, Nick, I'd appreciate it. And again, I understand all the different facets of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I may too, Joe, I totally hear you, and you know, and maybe that's where we need to pursue some sort of a state grant or something to, you know, because it's not realistic that we're going to put our general fund dollars into that, and we. I mean, our growth is phenomenal, and we will
Sure.
next month share some of those statistics because they'll become official, and the impact fees are a vital tool to, you know, we're going to build Bethel Phase One likely with only local money in it because transportation dollars are so competitive, you know, between our TBD, you know, sales tax and the traffic impact fees will be darn close to funding that project with local money.
Mhm.
Mm.
I feel like it's kind of like you say, night and day when you got the child care center and a small one compared to McDonald's or another huge retail place. I think this is definitely worth coming back to Circle. I'd like to go and check out and see the space where they want to add on and look at the road and the traffic right there. I think it's because we do need more daycare, and we've been trying to. And I hear you, Joe. Like an in-home license and all the stuff that an in-home licensed person has to do is just like a big center, which makes no sense.
Mm.
And so anyway, so I think it's something that we need to definitely look into more. And like you said, circle back, and I like to go look at the facility.
The-
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say this could also be a legislative issue for our lobbyist because I know that for affordable housing, there is specific authorization in state law for impact fee relief. And so if there are other uses like affordable housing, maybe daycares makes the list. Um, that's something that we could put on our legislative agenda is, hey, we want to carve out an exemption for this because it's a critical need in our community. But but there are pretty specific parameters for impact fees, and you can't treat a corporate fast food business differently than another commercial business, except to the extent that their traffic impacts vary.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really frustrating. Again, I understand it, but eh.
Mhm.
The kiosk versus Starbucks, right? But
Mhm.
anyway, I get it. I'll send an email on the legislative point. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, and I that's really interesting. I do want to add a comment because I was listening to the other option of being increasing business B&O taxes, and it seems to, the problem is that here everybody lives here, but everybody works elsewhere. So the childcare is a benefit to our residents, but in terms of the benefit to the businesses that are benefiting from that are not here. They're outside. And so it feels like it would be really strange to shift that burden to the businesses that are here when they're not really the ones that are having the most benefit to that. So just think of that aloud. So next discussion item, it is parking. This is the one I put on. So we had an awesome town hall this past Thursday, and with it being down in Josephine's and there being a lot of talk around the waterfront, of course the issue of parking was going to come up. And so for parking, um, I think there was clarity, and I think we got an email the other day too about parking, and now that was at the Port of Bremerton issue. But there is a lot of sort of confusion in the waterfront where you can park, what's open, and especially if we do have more parking where the old bank was. Um, I was hoping that we could talk about what it would take to get more signage, like even if it's temporary, just on Saturday, because that's our hugely busy day, where we could get more signage on Saturday that says, hey, this is overflow parking, or, whatever it is, would be great. And I know, I think Jim, you emailed that you wouldn't have like a presentation or anything to be able to add or but what would be the steps so that we could get that done?
So I can share with you the right now the what is the bank's parking lot
Mhm.
is private, and until we get the lease finalized with the bank, which we're working on, we can't offer that parking to the public because it's their private lot.
Okay.
They're amenable to us leasing that, and we're working through that process. Unfortunately, it's slower. It's not as urgent for them as it is for me. I'm turning around our edits in 24 hours, and they're turning their edits around in 2-week increments from their law firm. So I just turned that lease document back to them with Charlie's edits on Friday. I hope it doesn't take 2 weeks. You guys have already authorized me to sign the lease as soon as the terms in the lease are acceptable, and they're not acceptable right now. And as soon as we have that lease in place, I've already talked to Dennis in Public Works about the signage that'll go on the parking lot, that it'll be available evenings, and weekends for free to the public, and that we intend to utilize it during the day with permit parking for our employees and for the merchant parking program. And we want to expand that. We've currently got 4 people using the merchant passes on the water side, and I'd like to get that many or more utilizing the other side. Another topic that was brought up was the shuttle idea. I reached out to Kitsap Transit. Bainbridge is
Wait,
doing a shuttle.
can we wait?
Okay.
Because that's our next discussion
Okay.
item. That way we can keep
Okay.
it clear.
Certainly, I've got some
Okay.
information on that too.
Which is awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I guess for me, I need a little bit more clarity too. I've I've heard all of this, and yet being a visual person, hearing is just not good enough for me. It doesn't make things click. So the only thing I'm going to put it this way. So the only thing we own is the old bank building. Is that what it is then?
Own that, but they're leasing it from us until they vacate it at the end of the year, when we will tear it down. And that's
Okay.
where we're going to build the community center.
But all that surrounding parking lot, they still own?
That's the banks, and that's where their employees right now are parking, that are occupying that building. They're not willing to, they're not offering that parking to us.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I'm saying. So the only thing we own is the bank building and all that surrounding land and parking lot. is the bank.
We own all of that, but
Okay.
the bank is leasing that from us.
Oh,
current-
okay.
on the waterfront side. On on near City Hall across the street, the large paved lot, the bank owns that. We
Next
do
to the
not.
arts building.
What's that?
Do you mean next to the arts building?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is the lot that we are proposing. There we go. Thank you. That's
Thank
the lot
you.
we're proposing to lease from the bank on a month-to-month basis until they sell it.
Okay. And so the one across the street, you said they're also still using.
They're utilizing that lot
Mhm.
is we own that,
Mhm.
and they are leasing it from us with the building.
Okay, got it. And what about the one across from that to the right?
That is the one to the right. That's the drive-up facility. That lot, Nick, you went too far. No, it doesn't look like this anymore because the marina pump station's been rebuilt.
Mhm.
There, it's configured differently to the north of that, to the top of the screen.
Yes.
It doesn't look exactly like this any longer, but there's a lot there, and it's got 50 or so stalls in it, and that's where we're doing our current merchant parking, and it's 4-hour parking in that lot currently, public parking.
Okay. And so I know that the farmers market has been utilizing this, but that's between, you're saying, with them and the bank. Because the bank has it. Okay, thank you for explaining, because like I said, and thank you for pulling up the visual. I appreciate you so much. It's godsend.
Yeah.
It's godsend. Thank you.
Now over by the bank where they're leasing it from us, like on the weekend, I think it's like unofficial. People can park there, that's not.
It says no parking. You're correct. Nobody's enforcing because they're not there, but we can't officially offer it to anybody because it's not our lot, and they've got it posted, no parking, their use only, but nobody's enforcing that.
Yeah, on the
You're
weekends.
parking there at your own risk.
Yeah. When the kiosk or that ATM, who owns that land, right? Is that the one that's gonna be up that land for sale, or are you tearing down the kiosk too, right?
We are not. Where the ATM and the gravel lot is the site that was previously going to be the bank's new building. And
Oh, I know.
that's the property they're attempting, those two parcels combined is what they're attempting to sell. That footprint right there. He's got it on the
Yes.
screen where it
Yes.
says 605, or 625, that's the bank drive-through facility. And
Mhm.
then the fenced gravel lot is to the right of that.
Mhm.
That is all one because is now one tax parcel, and that's what they're marketing to sell as a mixed use project.
Got it.
And we're trying to use the gravel lot
Mhm.
for the food trucks,
Yeah.
but we haven't been
Great.
able to come to agreement on that lot yet either.
Thank you so much for that explanation and for the visual. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, so moving on. The next discussion item is the shuttle trolley feasibility study. And Mayor, you said you had some more information about the shuttle?
So that was brought up Thursday night, and I had a conversation since then with John Clausen, the executive director over there. He did share with me. Now, Bainbridge Island's got a little different layout in their downtown, and their bus service is really just a spine surface that runs down the highway from the freeway up to up to the park and ride lot just off the island. They do have dial a ride on the island, just like we do in McCormick Woods, where you call for the service. Um, their city is contracting with the Kitsap Transit for the summer for trolley types, what you're referring to as a trolley truck service. It's $100,000. So dividing that by four, that's $25,000 a month to have Kitsap Transit provide that type of service. When I reached out to John, we currently I think what was discussed was 30-minute service to the Armory or up to the Curdy. We already have that level of service with the bus service that we have. I just don't think people realize that they could come to the farmers market or visit our downtown without bringing their car. So I convinced John he's going to bring his staff to the farmers market and do an information booth to talk about bus service in South Kitsap, and in particular, how you can visit the farmers market by parking on, the park and ride lot at Lund or at the Armory or up at the county campus. And the service is currently 7 days a week, every 30 minutes. So I think we can serve folks with the existing service at no cost to us if we can just educate people that it exists.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I thought you were on the bus. If it's 30-minute bus ride, I think that's very doable. Because if you're on there for an hour and someone wants to go down to the farmer's market and goes back up, I don't think that people aren't going to do that. But I mean, I'm just saying, I think
Yeah,
more
it
people will
is.
park someplace.
If you got on that bus and rode it to its terminus point and back, it would be an hour, but you're not going to because the bus starts at the ferry terminal, okay, and it goes up the hill to the county campus. That's the first stop. You're 5 minutes away. And when the bus is coming back down the hill, it's the last stop. But it's the second to the last stop, and you're getting on the bus and you're less than 5 minutes back down the hill. So you're likely not going to ride the bus all the way out to Fred Meyer,
Right.
because that it goes all the way out to there and back. It is possible to catch it at Fred Meyer and it'd take an hour, but you could get to the county campus in 5 minutes and then be returned in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Would there also be any other extra stops, or is it written in stone already?
The-
Because, well, let me just finish a little bit. Because I know EPO, I don't know if that has a bus stop already, and that's very close of downtown or even the high school. And like I mentioned before, those are parking spots and plenty of them to catch a bus and then take a beeline straight down. So that was one question. But I think what we don't have is I'm glad they're going to come down to the farmers market. That will be huge to get that information out. But we don't put anything even on our government page. We do not have advertisement to catch the bus. And so I think that's one thing to really be working on is to get people to know about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I wanted to add too is I ride the bus a lot. So I know exactly the bus. It comes right out here in Sydney, goes down. It kind of actually comes off Roopsaland to the government, comes back down. And so while you do have, like you said, every half an hour, you can go to the park at the old elementary school / Given Center.
Mhm.
I think when we talked about a shuttle, it would be more of a loop. So people didn't have to wait half an hour. And again, I love the education. Like I am so for that, having them come down and educate people that that exists at all. But it was more of like a loop to area parking, which it sounds like they're not really allowed to park at the sorry. So they are allowed to park at the next to the city / county, that's parking lot and whatnot. But I guess my brain was thinking because it was really an issue about not just so that everybody could have parking, it was, but also the fact that people with low mobility and the way that our geography is, that it was, if they were parking out, they were going to probably park out more like this way. And so connecting, let's say, even the parking lot that people use at the, I'll call it Bay Center, Key Bank Bay Center where KMHS is all that. So on the
Yeah.
other side of the waterfront. And so connecting sort of this part of the waterfront to this part of the waterfront and those parking lots um, to uh, account for people with low mobility.
Yeah. I hear you. And up at the county campus where there is a bus stop, there's ADA stalls there. I don't believe we could market the West Bay Center because that's private parking. But to Heidi's question around EPO, the Lutheran Church up there on Mitchell, just down the street from the EPO, is a park and ride lot. So you can catch the bus right there. That's a valid park and ride lot there. So there are numerous valid parking ride lots that are ADA compliant that people and our buses have the technology where you ride it, Shira, it kneels down so people with mobility issues. And then for those in a wheelchair, of course, there's the access service.
Mhm. No, I think we just need to get that information out.
Mhm.
This is a good way to go.
Yeah, he said it's going to be a couple weeks. I mean, he just can't. The FIFA's coming, and they got a lot going on, but they will get. He committed to having a booth in a few weeks down at the farmers market.
I thought it was this Saturday.
Yeah, it won't be this Saturday.
Okay.
Connor, you got your hand raised, I see.
Does anybody else have questions? Oh, Connor.
Yeah, going back to just like using the existing services, it was helpful that we're going to the farmers market. Like working with Kitsap Transit, like repackage the marketing as like a farmers market shuttle. So then, it makes it look like it's a new service, but we just utilizing the existing, make it more like exciting with branded to the farmers market. Collect all the route times and, the 186 goes by the armory and the high school, and then also the route by the county campus. Just kind of identifying what those key routes are and packaging it as a farmers market service.
Ah.
That's brilliant, Connor.
Yeah, I like the way packaging it or farmers market. Because people have been wanting something like this for years, actually.
Yeah.
And here it is.
And well, probably the best place would be if the farmers markets themselves at their information booth, if we created this information and had it for them, they're the best ones to market this because they're the ones receiving the complaints. Oh, I know it's challenging to park, but did you know?
Yeah.
Because somebody visiting the park, they're likely not looking for that information on our website. They're they more apt to be receptive to that information down there at the information booth at the farmers market. Is probably the best place to market it.
Yeah. a few places, but definitely at the farmers market for
Yes.
sure.
But that would be great to have that ask to see if
Mhm.
Kitsap Transit could pull together a special marketing like asset or assets,
Mhm.
like
And
one
we
for
could,
social media and then one for print.
Mhm.
I know they're the more the experts, but I'd be interested in helping too, also identifying those key routes and times. So,
Great.
and
Thank
helping
you.
with marketing.
Wonderful.
Rad. So rad. Any other comments about this? Okay, great. That was awesome. And so that's the end of our discussion items. And our next item is our next EDT meeting is July 13th, 2026. And do we have anything? It's not here, but do we have anything for the good of the order? Joe?
I wanted to ask a question, see if there was some interest in something, and also congratulate council and the mayor on their open house that they held downtown. I thought it was really great, and I think most cities probably don't do that. And it was pretty cool that we did it. It was, if you really think about it, right? Public servants coming out to talk to the citizenry about what it is they do and what's happening. I thought it was really excellent. Um, our team is having a staff retreat and employee appreciation day on July 2nd. South Kitsap is the focus, and we're going to take them around Port Orchard and Olalla and parts in between to see some of the challenges and some of the new opportunities. So I'm hoping to take them out to McCormick Village, for instance. And I was wondering if you folks wanted to do a little bit of a roundtable. It could even be your EDT meeting, but it probably should be in person or at least hybrid. And our date is July 2nd. So I wanted to float that out there and see what the council and the mayor and DCD thought of that. It would be a chance for our team members to ask you questions about where economic development's headed and what you hope to accomplish, and to get that feedback from you and to try to help.
I like the idea, and I was typing on the response to your email you sent me this morning. So it's just whether we can accommodate everybody else's schedules and be in person or not is really the only question for me. But I'm tossing some topics to you right now in an email.
Yeah.
I know that July 2nd does not work for me.
Shoot.
Yeah, but I was wondering, you didn't mention having the next economic development meeting. So is that what you were saying? Like maybe using
Well, I was
July
just saying
13th?
maybe we could meet in person, right?
Oh, okay.
Instead of online.
Okay.
And it could be in addition to, I don't want to take up too much time from everybody, but this is something new we're trying, and we thought it would benefit everybody to just sort of connect and talk about, what's critical, where you're going. The the team doesn't know as much about Port Orchard as I do. I don't know as much about Mainbridge as Elizabeth does, and some of that's just the nature of us splitting the portfolio, but I think it would be helpful, and they also would learn a lot more about the
How
community.
many hours are you?
One.
One. Okay. I think I
Solo
would
one.
personally, I don't know, again, I will let everybody else speak to themselves, but personally, I would be able to do it if it was like first thing in the morning. That's
Yeah.
and not first because I still gotta get kids out. So like like this time, like a
9:30.
like at 9:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the following Thursday or something. Because you said the 2nd doesn't work for you. What about the
It
9th?
sounds like all the folks are going to be here. That's why they were trying to plan it. So that's why I was saying for me, I could do it that morning because they wanted everybody in person on the 2nd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to meet in person. I think that'd be good. So
Great.
on that time to see how it works.
I'll set it up with the mayor and DCD, and if you can make it, great. I know it's right on top of the holiday weekend, and I know we'll probably be missing some people, but it's a good chance to connect.
At least it's in the morning because you're right. That's going to be busy.
Yeah.
I didn't look at
Right. First thing. Um, great. So are there any more oh, I know I had one.
Yeah,
Okay, go Heidi.
I have one. I think we need to bring back the bathroom issue, even for a work study, because the bathroom down here, that's not for the public. And it needs to, I feel like it needs to get fixed up so it's more durable. Because I didn't go in there and I meant to, but I heard there's like wires and it's not commercial at all. It's like just meant for the workers down there. And if you go, and then the only other bathrooms, there's some porta potties, but they're only open through the farmer's market, and the farmer's market pays for that. And then, and I know the bathrooms belong to the port, but maybe we can have a better partnership, because otherwise you're going way down there to the boat launch to go if you have to go to the bathroom, or way down here. There's nothing in the middle unless we're using the retail stores. And I don't think they really want people just coming and going for the bathroom. I just feel like this needs to be an issue that should be addressed at a work study of because it's a lack of bathrooms around here, and then they close them like early. Councilmember Diener was talking about that. And so, uh, what do you think?
I would love if somebody could bring up a visual of that, of the boat launch to the other, because
Uh,
I keep hearing the boat launch too, and I thought I knew where the bathrooms were, and then now I realized I was confused. So even as
Yeah,
you said it, it reminded me that not necessarily everybody even understands where this boat launch is. So if somebody
Well,
could pull up a
oh,
visual, that would be
so
greatly
you know where
appreciated.
7-Eleven is, correct?
Yeah, I do know where 7-Eleven is.
Okay, left, if you're standing at City Hall looking at 7-Eleven,
Okay.
left of that by the boat launch is the restroom. So I brought this topic up with the port and whether they would be amenable. So oop, there he goes. It's that building right there.
Ah,
That's a public restroom.
I
So,
did not know that. I've been past that so many
and
times.
whether they would be amenable to leaving them. So they open their two restrooms when they have staff because that's when it's during their business hours because that's when they have people around to monitor when they don't have when they had them open in the past when after they've gone home they've had drug activity, prostitution, all kinds of bad behavior
Mhm.
and vandalism to the restrooms which I don't have a solution to offer other than the fact that we're building public restrooms in our community center. I know they're a couple years away. You know, so we'll have some nice restrooms there. You know, right in the center of downtown. The Heidi's correct. The Marina Pump Station wasn't built. You know, and those decisions were made 10 years ago or more. You know, but when that was designed to be a restroom that's for the workers that are working on that facility. And so it's got, you know, things in there that aren't intended for the public. Now ma- I've worked with Sam because she's the president of the Merchants Association. When we have festivals and events and we have people around there that we're less apt to have bad behavior. And so we've got a magnetic sign that goes on, it's on the inside of the door. And when we have our big festivals and events downtown, we're issuing a key for that bathroom, and then we take the magnetic sign and it says public restroom open, and it's on the Marina Pump Station. So it gives us an extra bathroom when we have those festivals, so we can have fewer porta potties because not everybody likes a porta potty, and so we've got to you know at least a you know it's not the best bathroom, but it's a bathroom at least one more bathroom that's a real bathroom.
So
Yeah.
you said, Mary, you mentioned the business hours. Is that a Monday through Friday or is it?
Well, no, they're open on the weekends. The port is too on the weekends during the day. It's just that they go home at 4:30. And when their staff goes home, you know, they've got union staff and if people were staying after hours, there's a significant cost to that
Right. And
to
is
pay
so
their
is
staff.
that the restrooms that are as you are, let's say, in front of Josephine's, that strip, those
Those
restrooms.
are not. Those are so there's restrooms there
Okay.
that are for the boaters and the people that rent slips at the marina. The public restrooms that they offer is the one that you just showed you the picture of by the boat launch,
Mhm.
and the other set of public restrooms are down by the marina park. The
Oh, you
speed,
mean the one that the farmer's market right there?
yeah,
Okay.
correct, right by the farmers market. You got
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you for that explanation.
it. Hmm.
Heidi?
Yeah, it would be nice if there was, and I don't know what the cost was, or like I say, the city and the port, we have a partnership with the bathrooms. I mean, if they're closing the bathrooms when at 4:30, that is so early. I didn't even know it was closed that early. When the staff goes home, and I get, yeah, if you're gonna leave a bathroom open all night, yeah, you're gonna get some drug use and whatnot. But if there was a way that there's a sensor or in a automatic door lock at a certain time, especially in the summertime, that we can work on something like that, I think that would help with the bathroom issue.
Okay. Any other comments on this issue? Well, I guess it was a good of the order.
Yeah, should
So I guess I had one more, and that was at the town hall. This issue came up of it taking longer for business license, let me think, business license endorsements than like our neighboring cities. And I didn't personally notice this, but apparently several people have had an issue. And so that is something I wanted to get on the radar is, and maybe we could talk about this next meeting, but understanding why we would take longer um, to have business licenses endorsed.
It shouldn't because it's done through the state's website.
Yeah, but apparently it is.
I'm not aware of any situations or why, if or why we would take longer than anybody else. I mean, we turn them around as quickly as we can, but it's done through the state's website.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm not I'm aware of any issue.
Yeah, apparently
Nick,
there's an issue. Like, so maybe that's something to go
well,
back and listen to or to look into.
Mr. Bond, do you know of any issues related to business licensing?
Well, we do have one person who's assigned to this, and so if they're out, there can be a short-term delay. We are talking about once the permit software work is done, we're talking about potentially taking finance out of business licensing altogether because they really don't have a role other than collecting the money. They don't tell people whether they need permits or other approvals in order to operate their business, and potentially bringing this into our code enforcement division. And so that could happen potentially at the end of this year. But for right now, we're a little bit short-staffed, and each one of these we have to look at the license and figure out, do we need to send them a letter saying that you need to apply for additional permits, like a certificate of occupancy, because it's a change of occupancy for the person going into that suite. Somebody actually has to look at this, and then the police also do a review, and that gets right now that's getting sent to finance, who then is doing the communication between the applicant and the city. So yeah, it's I mean, it's not as simple as just signing things off. Um, and some cities I understand do that, where they'll give out a business license to anybody regardless of whether it's allowed in zoning. And so then it becomes a code enforcement issue when somebody starts operating that business because they have a license and they think they have everything they need, and then they come to find out that the building that they leased is not approved for that use. So
Is there a different priority system for, let's say, like in-home businesses or businesses set up at like workspaces or, something where the infrastructure already exists? Um, is there anything like that where things that should be sort of theoretically kind of dealt with easier versus ones that where it might take a little bit more time?
Some things do get approved faster than others. So if it's a very straightforward, you're working from your home and you're not having customers come to your home, if you've checked that box, um, then it usually is a very fast approval. If you're moving into an existing space, or if it's a change of name, if you're selling a restaurant, but the building is still going to be a restaurant, the business name isn't changing, it's just changing ownership. That's a very easy one to approve. But anytime there's a change of use, or if you're dealing with customers that would be coming to a residential home, we have rules in place that we have to make sure are complied with before we approve the business license.
Okay, thank you. One last question. Would it, if that were the case, like, let's say two businesses, that was the case, but like, let's say they're operating out of a home, but one is re retail, technically retail, not seeing customers at the home, but still technically retail. And then like they're a crafter. And then the other one is like a service. Are those going to have pretty much still the same timeline likely, or are those going to have different timelines?
Um, it should be a pretty similar timeline. It's just that the letter that goes out may be different. And Jim has his hand up. He has some input.
Yeah, I used to review business licenses quite a bit, and I found in my experience that the home businesses are often more complex than just a business license in a commercial zone. So the municipal code has a whole section about home businesses, and there's certain criteria for each one. Uh, so you can have kind of a home occupation where you would have like a bookkeeper or something like that. You could have a small barber shop, and then the number of clients is limited in there. There's also some language about fire rating of structures. So we've had people apply for business licenses to do like home brewing or distillery in their garage. That actually changes the fire rating of the structure, and then we can't approve that business license. So it, in my experience anyway, the home businesses, while it seems that they should be easier, they're oftentimes much more complex in figuring out exactly what folks are doing and the impacts to the structure and the surrounding neighborhood.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for explaining that. I'm not sure if this issue will come up again, but just to summarize what I heard, that there's one person on it, things can be complicated. And when we have our new permitting system, this might go quicker. This is likely to go quicker.
Well, and the permit system isn't going to make it quicker. It's that we need to finish that project before we start the new project of working on our business license process.
Thank you for clarifying. Okay, so I have nothing else to add. Does anybody else? Are we good?
No, I don't have nothing to add, but I did want to talk about our on our work study. I don't know if that got forward to go, that we can bring that so all the city council people can talk about it, because I still think it needs to get addressed, and bring that to a work study.
Oh, the bathroom?
Yeah, the bathroom issue. I think that's a biggie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
second-
something we'd have to like
You
move?
have to second it. Yeah.
Okay, so that was your movement.
I'm waiting for you.
Okay, got it. Okay, sorry. Again, learning. So Heidi just moved, so I will second that. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Anything else?
I don't know that there's going to be any more that I can add other than what I shared with you guys. We don't have a public bathroom, and the port isn't willing to staff at longer hours than they do. So we can
Well,
we can share that information with everybody else, but I can probably
Yeah.
do that and we can probably do that in good order just as easily as having a topic on the work study.
I think maybe too, what about because I was talking to Councilmember Diener, he's very much on board with this bathroom issue.
I hear you. You want it, but
But maybe-
the facility doesn't exist, and
Well,
that we own anyway.
Yeah, but maybe instead of having that, fluffy bathroom down there, we turn it into more of a commercial bathroom, and the same thing. It locks at night, but it's open all the time. So we have a bathroom that's open longer than 4:30 or 5. That to me, that just makes no sense of our area down here on the waterfront from a radius to radius. So that's why I think I'd like to have more conversation, maybe more conversation with the port too. Maybe they'll work on something a little bit more.
Okay.
So
All right.
Okay, well, if there's not anything else, let us, I call this meeting, wait, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
yes,
See y'all. Bye.
thanks.
Uh,